largest aircraft in the United States Air Force inventory.
That big B-27.
The strategic airlifter known as the Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. Now the C-5 is going to be making a right-hand turn and coming around to make a pass toward us. I believe he's probably going to extend all 28 of those landing gear, so we're going to get a close look at that. Since he'll be traveling at a slower speed, take a look at the trailing edge of the giant wing on this aircraft. You'll see huge barn door wing flaps extended down the trailing edge of the wing. What they do is change the shape of that wing so that it creates a lot of lift at a slow speed. Those wing flaps are going to come down and extend downward because regardless of what the song says, the wind beneath my wings, it ain't the wind beneath the wings that makes the lift. It's the wind over the top of the wing. And you put those wing flaps out, that makes a real rounded surface and creates even more lift at a slow speed. But they can't leave them out because it also creates a lot of drag and slows things down. So let's see if he gets configured. I think I see the landing gear extended. Get those wing flaps extended and we'll watch a slow landing configuration pass by the C-5 Galaxy. Now watch carefully, take a good close look. I hope you have a telephoto lens. You see the wheels extended down below the C-5. If he applies full power to go like he's missing a landing and going around, watch those landing gear. They will actually rotate 90 degrees before they go into the belly of the airplane. Yep, here we go. The edge of the wing is clean, those wing flaps have been retracted. A go around by the C-5 Galaxy. Each of those General Electric C-39 engines producing 42,000 pounds of thrust. Eventually this model of C-5 will get upgraded to a larger model, one of which is on display in the Midway area. Those engines producing 53,000 pounds of thrust. A big increase in capability of the giant Lockheed C-5 Galaxy.
The biggest one back then was the ones I think
Flying the C-5 today, the aircraft commander is Lieutenant Colonel Craig Tomilo. Has over 8,000 hours of flying time. He's living in Belchertown, Mass. In the right seat is Lieutenant Colonel Matthew Lodro. With 6,000 hours of flying time, he resides in Chicopee. The flight engineers, two flight engineers for this aircraft. Master Sergeant Glenn Finn, with 11,000 hours of flying. He lives in Westfield, Massachusetts. And Master Sergeant Ben Sendrum, with 11,000 hours also from Chicopee, Massachusetts.
10 cars in security.
A third flight engineer is Master Sergeant Ryan Connolly, with 4,000 hours. He lives in Belchertown, Mass. And the load toad, our load master, is Master Sergeant Thomas O'Brien. With 7,000 hours of flying time, he lives in Chicopee. A total of 47,000 hours with his crew on the C-5 Galaxy. Let's look and listen. in cargo, the C-5 Galaxy can weigh 840,000 pounds. That's why we have over 160,000 pounds of thrust being generated by those 4 engines. But one thing to think about with those 42,000 pound thrust engines, that big fan, the thing that was making the whistling sound as they came by, that jet engine is there not to provide the thrust to push it along. That jet engine is there to drive that big fan. The big fan is what produces the thrust. In fact, at takeoff, when it's developing that 42,000 pounds, each of those engines, 90% of that thrust is coming off the fan. There's only 10% coming out the back of the tailpipe of the jet engines of the C-5 Galaxy. Big wing like that has a lot of fuel tanks in it. They can hold a lot of gas on the C-5. And it also has the capability to be refueled in flight. But even without the in-flight refueling, we can fly that airplane with 120,000 pounds of cargo on board from here at Westover all the way to a base in Turkey, for example, nearly 5,000 miles away. No cargo on board, just gas. You can fly the airplane over 7,000 miles. Okay, our C-5 is going to be touching down now and making a full stop landing. And then we will have Rob Holland. Rob Holland is going to be putting on an incredible display of aerobatics for you as soon as our C-5 is on the ground and stopped. When the C-5 touches down, I want you to listen to the sound of the engines, because after touchdown, it's going to change. You're going to hear a change in the sound of the engines, because what they're going to do is use the reverse thrust capability of the airplane. Instead of all that thrust being pushed out the back of the fan, it's going to be projected forward, and that's going to help to slow down the airplane. Out on final approach now, the C-5 Galaxy, about to be touching down on a full stop landing, and listen for the sound of the reverse. This giant airplane coming in for a landing at a speed of probably about 120 knots, about 130 miles an hour or so. If you look at the wing, you see those panels sticking up.